Hey everyone, this video is going to be about Guild Ball, and I know it's obviously not Malifaux, but it's kind of more how it's related to Malifaux, and I believe a lot of the Malifaux population also plays Guild Ball. Is what I've seen. I'm not sure if they're like enemies in any way, but nonetheless, I went to my first Guild Ball tournament yesterday. It was actually my second, third, and fourth game of Guild Ball. I played a demo game, bought the models, and just went to a tournament, a local tournament. I ended up losing every game, but they were fun. I don't mind. I mean, obviously, when you only play the second, third, and fourth time with stuff that you've never played with before, because my demo game was not with the same crew, I guess, guild that I actually bought. I bought Alchemist for those interested, because I asked the people who played, "What's the best? What is the what is a guild that will give me wins? Like, what is the best guild if I want to be like a high skill ceiling and like all that kind of like control-y and stuff?" So I wasn't gonna play like the worst guild there is. And I wanted a guild that like they knew how I played and what I like to do, so they told me this one. Obviously I played things wrong. Being on the clock was hard. Okay, I'll just talk about my experiences in comparison to Malifaux. Just general thoughts. I think it's interesting to play different games. I also demoed Rune Wars on on Wednesday, and that was fun. I don't know how much I'll play it, but we'll see. So this is kind of just a video about experience, what I think about it and stuff. So Guild Ball itself, it has some nice things I really like. One thing I like about it is there's only 12 models plus Union that you have to worry about. So unlike Wave 5, which is adding, 5 new grandma models I got to worry about. And this is not, I mean, most companies do the latter. What is the latter? The one where they add more models. I think Guild Ball is more unique in a sense that they're like, we're not going to add more than 12 players to Guild. If anything, we're going to release more guilds. I like that mainly because I see Guild Ball as more of a casual game to me. I mean, I'll play tournaments, but it's not like my main, I need to be the best in the world type game. So the fact that I can have my 12 or 13 players and not have to buy more or worry about learning new ones, I enjoy that. There's also not that many models in the game, period. I mean, there's what, 10 unions, 12 players. You're looking at 120 players. I mean, a lot of them are captains. So, I mean, there's 2 in each are captains, 2 are mascots. So, I mean, you can learn the big ones. Mascots aren't that important to learn. I mean, you can learn them, but it's not like it's like learning a totem. You're like, okay, I get a general sense of what it does. And you can start to see what the good models that people take are. I mean, there's only 6. So a lot of people, the 4 that people use in between, I fear are pretty not standard, but like in Alchemist, there's a lot you don't see, and there's a lot you see a lot all the time. So it's one of those like it's still limit. Like you don't need to read up on survivors or Bayou bushwhackers if you're playing against gremlins. You're studying them, and I guess Guild Ball has the same way, but there's less models in general, so I like that. So as far as like the aspect of it as a side game, it fits what I need. I don't like that I have to paint this shit because I don't like painting, but it's 12 models, whatever. I'll get over it. Um, and I like that it's only, I have all the rules on my iPad. I have all the cards. I can look through them when I want. The game itself, quick to set up. I like that. You always play on the same mat with a couple of flat terrain pieces, so it's easier to play than Malifaux. It's always the same. There's like 12 flat cards. It's always the same objective. There's a one deployment line. Everyone like always goes straight on the line. Like it's it's simple and it's complex. And when I first started, I was like, this is kind of simple. Obviously, I knew I could see the deepness of it with the playbooks and whatnot. I thought I'd like the influence allocation a little more. I'm just bad at the influence. I mean, a lot of the reason that I have not issues with the game, but a lot of my comments are based on 4 games of play. It's not like I played like 40 times and I can give you this deep analysis. This is like initial. This is very initial, and I'm willing to be wrong. And I'm not gonna not playing, even if I do say something negative that I didn't like. But it felt I didn't. My initial like negative thoughts, and I'm gonna go more negative, and they're not. They're gonna sound more negative than I think they are in my head. The only things only lasted like 4 turns, 3 to 4 turns. Felt very short. Felt very like some of your models just don't do anything because they're like batteries for influence, or when you really think about it, a Malifaux game goes 5 turns. You probably have, let's just say, average of 8 models. You're talking 8 models, 8 to 10. Let's just say 8, and you're probably talking third, 16 AP, 17 AP with a master. You're talking about maybe 20 AP with zeros and stuff, and people who are swift and whatnot. Not like 20 AP a turn. And every model does something, right? You don't allocate. You don't make your one guy do a bunch. You have to worry about what all your models can do within themselves, like together. Well, like Guild Ball is like a 13 influence spread around, but like a lot of the influence are going to end up doing the same thing. Like you're going to spend a lot of them on just a playbook result, which is fine because that's the game. But you're going to put like 5 on one guy and attack multiple times. I don't know. It just felt like it, it's not as like deep as Malifaux, in my opinion. Like there's not as much. Like you can get good at the game if you play it a lot, and I'm sure there's things that I will never think of in Guild Ball that other top players do think of. But it just felt like from an overall strategy perspective, like the line you could go to is much shorter than Malifaux. There's a lot more variables in Malifaux and things to worry about, and date ways to play, and because Guild Ball, you're on the pitch, the goal's always in the same spot. Most teams are like, our goal is to score 2 goals and 2 knockouts, or I'm a knockout team, or I thought the football, or I'm gonna call it soccer because football is Blood Bowl. I thought the soccer aspect would be a little bit more pronounced. Like it feels like killing models, or it feels like fighting, and then eventually you shoot the ball. I thought like passing would be harder. I thought taking the ball would be harder. Like there'd be more like, if anyone ever played Blood Bowl felt very much like football in a minute, and then you just happen to have fantasy models, right? Guild Ball feels like Malifaux / a fighting game where you just happen to have a soccer like theme to it. You know what I mean? I thought it would be the other way. I thought it would be like miniature like soccer as opposed to like that's the best way I can compare it. Like Blood Bowl is like football first, and then you happen to have like Lizardman and Skaven. While I think Guild Ball is like battling miniatures first, and then you happen to have a ball that gets passed around in shots for the win. So that's what I feel about that. There's momentum. I mean, there's a lot of things I wasn't doing because I didn't think about it. So I'm not saying Guild Ball is easy. I think there is a lot of depth to it. I just, you know, I can't. I'm surprised a lot of people change it for their main game over Malifaux. A lot of the top Malifaux. I guess if you get bored of Malifaux, that's what's the big thing. A lot of the top UK people who switched to Guild Ball were like getting bored of Malifaux. So I think it's what I'm trying to do. One reason I have it is I have a couple Malifaux friends that play, and it's kind of like a side game where it's when you're getting like that month. Sometimes you get a little bored. You're like, oh, I just played in 2 big Malifaux events. Let's just play a game of Guild Ball or two, and something different. It's almost like the fun of learning. That's the one thing that Guild Ball has a drive for me right now, as far as why it would even be why I would even play it when I have Malifaux. It's just I know so much about Malifaux now that unless I'm playing in a tournament, I don't really feel like it's not that it doesn't do much for me unless I'm prepping for a tournament or playing in an event with friends and everybody and playing to win something. While Guild Ball is something on a Tuesday night, since you're still learning and still learning what other things can do, you get that sense of learning whether I play anybody. I'm just learning myself. Whether I play somebody who's like okay or good or bad in Guild Ball, I'm still learning how the game works. As opposed to Malifaux, if I play a brand new player, it's like I learn nothing because they're not going to challenge me in any way. They're not going to do something, and it's fine. I mean, I don't mind playing new people to help teach them, but it's just a different feeling. Um, yeah, I was trying to think if I had more to say about it. I mean, it's an interesting game. I can see why people really like it. I believe like I could end up really liking it, and maybe even being okay at it. I'll say like it's my side game, but there's a point where if I play it enough and I keep it fresh enough in my mind, it's not like I think my biggest problem right now is I don't have a good sense of what I should be doing. Like in Malifaux, you eventually learn you're like, okay, I need to do the schemes, I need to, this is how the game will flow. And you guys seen my scheme videos and strats where I'm like, this is how the game will go, and this is what I plan to do. I don't have that sense in Guild Ball if like you're just supposed to run everything up and then try to score, or like I just don't know what happens. I mean, I made a couple good plays where I like took the ball and scored, but I kept getting my models like beat down like really badly. Um, so yeah, I think a lot of it is a general lack of like knowing what to do. I feel like once I get that sense of how a game is won, especially with what I'm using and get comfortable, I could see it being. I mean, I hear like alchemists take a lot of the same shit. Like some of their models are really really good, and some are like eh. So if you're using the same, 4 or 5 models all the time, and then you randomly add in the last couple, I mean, how hard can it be to lock it down? Like look at some cards for other people. I mean, knowing what other shit does is nice. I was surprised a lot about what other crap was doing. I mean, I didn't know some of the rules either, so I learned a lot there. Obviously, getting thrown into the grinder is kind of hard. I made it through. Timing out was a little like the timer was a little obnoxious to me. I was like, I kept forgetting to hit it, and it's like if we were timed in Malifaux, like it would probably still be a little stressful, but I could do it because I play fast enough. In this game, it was just when you're trying to learn and have a timer on you. Obviously, it's a tournament, so I understood. I'm not gonna knock that. It was a little like, fuck, this sucks. But it was a good game. I had fun. I don't know when the next tournament for that is or whatnot. But I'll paint some of my stuff and go play on some weekdays. And I know some guys back in Maryland when I go visit are gonna want to play me in Guild Ball. And there's online to play is a pretty nice vassal. But yeah, those are my initial thoughts on Guild Ball. It's not going to replace Malifaux by any means. It doesn't have that draw to me to replace it. All my friends play Malifaux, though there is a drive in there a little bit. I think a lot of it's going to be driven by the scene. We had a 9-person event with. I've heard a lot of the people missing, so it seems like they get like 15 to 20 people per Guild Ball event. They just started doing tournaments. If there are enough like good events and I get to the point where I feel like I can compete, I'll travel for one and see how it goes. I mean, how hard could it be, right? The reason I actually started playing was one, a lot of the Malifaux players in Europe and stuff played and talked to me about it, but two, I was signing up for cons like Gen Con and stuff, and I was trying to get other events. Right, I was trying to see what else I wanted to do because Malifaux only covers so much time. And so I was like, all right, I'll demo Rune Wars, I'll demo Guild Ball, I'll get a Blood Bowl team. I used to play Blood Bowl a lot, and we'll see what happens from there. Rune Wars was a solid game. I don't know how it will be when all the shit comes out. It might just be very very beer and pretzels, where I don't know how competitive it will be. I'm interested to see where it has more models come out. Though you have to paint those too, and it really annoys me. I don't want to paint. Um, but yeah, that's my little Guild Ball ramblings. I know most people probably won't listen to this one since my random ones don't get a lot, since all my people are like gremlin people. But yeah, I just want to put it out there, my thoughts, and we'll see how it goes. Maybe in a year I don't play. Maybe in a year I am the greatest Guild Ball player in the U.S. Who knows? Anything could happen, right? Thanks for listening, guys.